We are live. Good. What's up, everybody? You're live. You're embodied. Here we are. Obsidian Blade Medicine Hour, Wednesday, sometime on the calendar called the year. And today I really want to dive into owning your relationship with the earth and how to feel it, claiming your direct access to her, trusting it, feeling it, making a home for it. Because here's the truth. Here's the truth of what's up. We hear a lot of talk about New Earth and what is New Earth. And we have a choice. We can either live in the old paradigm or we can figure out how to adjust ourselves to live in the new paradigm. We're here to create new businesses. We're here to create new connections, new services, all in alignment with life, all in alignment with the harmony of where we are. And, so why wait? Because if we keep making the excuse that we have to wait for humanity, or we have to wait for our family, or we have to wait for our partner, or we have to wait for society to give us the green light, then we're going to be in a perpetual state of waiting. And what good is waiting for New Earth when the whole point of New Earth is for you to come into your power and to live it fully, right? So let's dive into how we handle that. How do we live fully in New Earth right now? And this show, the Obsidian Blade Medicine Hour and the podcast, is here to help you with that. So I just want to welcome everybody on Instagram Live, YouTube Live. What's up, Martina? What's up, White Feather Store? These YouTube names, these Instagram names. I wish I knew who you were on the other side of the Instagram name. But say hello, everybody. Super stoked you're here. I'm here performing my sacred duty as someone who was hired by the planet Earth and existence and the intelligence, the collective intelligence, to come here at this time and share what you don't normally hear right now. And that's one of the things that we have to get into is trusting, right? Trusting the intuitive, trusting the ancient wisdom that lives within you, and trusting the communication that you're having with your guides, your allies, your ancestors, your DNA. You are both the key and the lock and the puzzle master. And all of us have something to contribute right now to the shift, to the transition. So I know we're excited to dive into this and handle how do we get a better feel for being with the earth or being in New Earth. And before you do, I just want to make sure that on YouTube that you are subscribed and that you've hit the notifications bell to let you know when we go live together to have this sacred communion of communication that is very much geared towards liberation and remembering our sacred power, living in our sacred power as warriors and healers and leaders who are taking on the responsibility to be the change that we seek in the world. And if you're new to this channel, well, here's what we do. As empaths, healers, creators, blossoming into our full abilities as the heroes who have remembered themselves, we navigate the exit of the crumbling matrix slave system, aka the land of the dead, through the exploration and cleansing of our shadow side so that you can come back to life and become the shift to live in your full power on New Earth in the light of the six sun star system. I've got the maps. We are the crew. Let's do this. So we're here to do this. We're here to be the New Earth. We're here to take the leap, make the leap, be the leap. So some of the things that happen when we're doing this is coming back into the fundamentals, right? There's a certain connection to existence that has been lost. And hey, Boundless Warrior, Rainbow Ruckus, Divine Imprints, there is a certain connection that has been lost. And part of our personal healing is to renew that connection, to cleanse anything inside of the self that is believing that you don't belong here. You know, that's kind of my rant too. Like, sure, you may come from the different star systems, but you do belong here. You are here. You did sign up to be a human, whether it's your first time or your millionth time. You have a lottery ticket to this front row, to the front row of this show. So, you know, we do the work to get back in touch with our powers. And the first note that I have written down here is the understanding the fundamental that everything is touching. So you can experience this on deep medicine journeys, but this is just a truth. What's up, Kisa? This is a truth that we need to start to live by and understand. Every thought you have, every subsequent action that you have has impact. Everything is touching, right? It's all connected. So we can end up in this moment right now feeling like we're isolated from the Mother Earth. We're isolated from Source. We're isolated in a society that is isolated. That's why I call it the land of the dead. If you live in a modern situation, that is actually that's the poisonous ground. It's the land of the dead. So if we want to start coming back to life and learning how to speak the language of life, then we have to say and live by everything is touching, right? So that includes the fact that you have a connection to Source and you have a connection to Earth. And it's not just a mental psychic connection. It's the feeling in your body. It's the feeling in your body right now. You want to feel the earth, you must start to feel your body. And I want to say that, you know, in your meditations, how do we do this? How do we get a connection to the earth? How do we know that we have a connection to the earth? What do? You sit down in your meditation and you feel in your root this grand being that has you right now. There's this, I'm going to find it in your notes, like, you know, get into your body. You are in a primal orbit with the earth. And when you sit there and you acknowledge her and you feel her, not just directly underneath you, but like going out thousands of miles in front of you, thousands of miles to the side of you, thousands of miles to the behind of you. If you've ever asked for support, right? You've ever felt distressed and like going like, please, someone support me. Who's supporting you the whole time? Who is supporting you the whole time? Like literally supporting your existence. Not only from the food, the basics like the food, the air, the water, the clothing, but she's holding you up. She's holding you up. And I know this is like simple, right? This is basic stuff, but have you noticed that even the basics of this relationship have been obscured, right? In the busyness or the distraction game of the Matrix, these basics are actually huge. You know, the same goes for the deepest spiritual truths that are out there, like we are all one, right? Sounds like a new age platitude, sounds like a really simple idea. But when those simple ideas hit you, when they hit you, and I know you've had these experiences, the simple phrases, the simple spiritual truths are the most hard hitting, the most like ego obliterating, We are all one will fucking decimate you when you really truly feel it in the most beautiful of ways. You're just like, it'll bring you to your knees. And the same with the fact that the earth supports you. So we must begin that relationship that we're in connection with the earth at all times. And that she has your back. You've got to ground into that. You've got to get out of your head in your meditations and get into the physical body. Because one, the physical body is her flesh. The physical body is her flesh. Where do you think this comes from? I mean, like, yes, it came from stars long ago, but what do you think this is? You're inside her flesh. You're basically married to the mother inside your body. And then that body has a relationship to the earth. I mean, just look how gravity even works, right? Look how awesome the mother loves us, right? You can jump into the air and she'll pull you back into her bosom. She doesn't want to let you fly away into the cosmos, right? She's taking care of the flying through the cosmos part. Did you notice that? We don't need to fly off into the cosmos. We're on spaceship Gaia, right? So she's got you buckled in via gravity, right? Like I was saying earlier, you are a satellite to Earth, and you jump up, she'll suck you back down and hold you close and let you know that you're family. You're not leaving family. You're with her. You are fucking with the earth. There ain't no other way about it. And she's handling the driving. Mama Earth is handling the driving as we cruise around the sun. And then the sun is handling the driving of like moving through the cosmos on a grander scale around greater central suns, right? This is the playground that we live in. And the more we can be with her as she journeys in sacred rhythmic cycles through our own solar system, and then through the cosmos via the sun on its grander journey, then more we're awakening to like the actual environment that we live in. Waking up to the larger environment that we live in. And that's what we see in the culture such as the Maya or the Aztec Mexica. These cultures anchored, and same with the Celtic, they anchored larger rhythmic cycles into their awareness and into their daily activities. Commerce, clothing, architecture, ritual, language, all spoke of these sacred harmonic rhythms, not as abstract ideas, but the fact that they were awakened cultures living in the truth of their own playground, right? You want to be an environmentalist, get a sensation for the grander environment in which we exist. Mama Earth is doing the driving. Where is she going? Where is she flowing? How is she spiraling through the cosmos? We're on that journey together with her. So again, being with her, feeling that connection and going and having a sense of gratitude, right? Like, I know you know who I am, Mother Earth, because I'm inside you. I'm literally inside your flesh. Where else does this flesh come from? Think about that. It's all material plane, of her material. You are made of the mother. You are made of the mother. Again, these simple truths will slap you in the face when you really, really feel them. Like, you are made of the mother. Your consciousness comes from different places, but you are made of the mother when you're in this flesh suit. And then to have that relationship of being with her. So again, the new earth, right? Again, I was saying at the beginning, we are here to create new businesses, new connections, new services, but in alignment with her. And so we're ending the waiting game by getting reconnected to the fundamentals of life, the fundamentals of a culture that lives in alignment with life, speaking life, wearing, the costumes that emulate these rhythms of life, having architecture and commerce and ritual and rhythm that is this life itself. So, again, this is, and why I'm saying we do it now, because if we don't do it now, right, we just end up waiting. We just end up waiting for someone else to take the leadership. But if you think the majority of the masses who are asleep are going to be the ones to lead, no, that's not why you came here. You came here to lead by being who you truly are in alignment with life. You came here to lead by being who you truly are in alignment with life. You've got to lead. And that doesn't mean you have to run for president of the United States. It just means you appear. Like JoJo, Little Hawk Midnight. She makes her art, and we all make our art, and we put it online. But we also make our art, and we put it on our bodies. And we make our art, and we put it in the streets. And this art of alignment, this art of the connection, and the intelligence can act as trigger points, can act as like acupuncture needles for society. So you being who you are is the medicine. You being who you are is the medicine. Your authenticity in connection with intelligence and the rhythms of life, which is the same thing, intelligence and life, one and the same thing, intelligent life. Your art and intelligent life is the medicine. And we do that. Yay, and you picked up some garbage today for the mother. Good. Clean up our act, and we clean. Part of the cleaning up of our act is the denial of being connected. Like, we're ending any denial within us that says we're not connected. You are connected. You are her child, and you are also source. And those two components, source, like the primary source, and earth, you're in a relationship between these two beings, really. And both of those beings are touching you. Source is within you, Mother Earth is within you, and they're also beautifully, playfully outside of you as well. Right? This is an amazing game where we're like in the center of both an ever expensive, it ain't expensive, it's free. We are in the middle of a very expansive outward experience, as well as an amazing, infinite, expansive inward experience. And we get to play between those two things. You know that. Some basics, right? And I think it's interesting to note, yes, everything is an altar. Yeah, sympathetic magic. Yeah, sympathetic magic, man. Like, I love that. I love it. But part of our cleansing, right, is we're cleansing the DNA, we're cleansing our genes, which are basically programs. And when we examine our programs, we see that part of us comes pre-programmed. That's just how it is. We are conditioned to the times we live in through our society or our family groups or our peers, but we also kind of get pre-programmed or come in pre-programmed due to the genetic lineage. But all of that is cleansable. All of that is rearrangeable. And I think part of that, trauma that we have from being leaders and showing how to do it first, which we must do, is that we have been killed in the past. We have a genetic memory of being killed for having a relationship with the earth. That is a truth. There is a cellular memory or a shared collective unconscious experience of being killed for having a connection to the earth. In Europe, we can see how the Roman Empire went and slaughtered many indigenous European tribes for having that connection to the earth, and then bringing the Holy Roman Empire of Christianity into play. And along with the Roman gods before they converted to Christianity themselves. But the idea that they were bringing culture to the barbarians. They were bringing culture to the wild things. And turns out the wild people, which is us, when we remember it, we're connected to the rhythms of life. And this idea of culture uh, and sophistication on some levels is a divorce from source and a divorce from the mother earth. And you saw these people, I don't know what the fuck the Romans were on, but they went through and they pillaged Europe, and all the tribal cultures of Europe came under their oppression and were colonized. And with that was the banishment of having a relationship with the earth. And then the adoption of the Roman ways. Now, if you look at what Europe did, and we have to look as healers, we have to look at root cause, genetically root cause. If we've held for 2,000 years, Europeans have held for 2,000 years this trauma, and it's never been dealt with. Then again, I was saying in the last live, hurt people hurt people. So you've got an entire continent of hurt people who were banished from their connection to the earth, told to be sophisticated, adopted the ways and pains. This is where alcoholism gets its origins, is when people get disconnected from their own power. And alcoholism, as it is in our culture right now, guess how it's sold? What does every ad show you what alcohol is? Alcohol is sold as sophistication. It is not sophisticated to deny your power. It is not sophisticated to have a wound that is going unmet and uncommunicated to. Yeah, alcohol is reptilian shit, and it's lost its way because, of course, where does alcohol come from? It comes from plants, right? It's essentially a plant medicine that's been turned into a control mechanism. And that control mechanism had a home in human beings because of the trauma of being separated from having a relationship to the earth. And then that relationship to the earth is not just an earth relationship. A relationship to the earth automatically equals a relationship to the stars. Did you know that? Did you fucking know that? Yeah? A relationship to the earth automatically equals a relationship to the stars. Because where does the earth live? The earth only exists because of a star, which we call the sun or soul, right? The only reason earth exists is because soul existed first and then attracted material towards it via gravity. And then over thousands, millions, trillions of years, these gravities, coalesced into the earth, right? If we're getting real scientific here. So soul existed first and then the material plane. Notice the language there. Notice that funny connection. Soul existed first, intention, spirit, source, and then soul attracted materials towards it and then physicalized its intelligence through the planets, and which we are one of them. And so not only do we live in a solar system, but I love switching the words. We live in a star system. This is star system soul, or we could call it star system earth. I love that. We got to start owning that. That's why I say that in the beginning of the show. We are coming back into the sixth sun, which is our new current age star system. We live in a star system. We don't have to go to Sirius. We don't have to go to the Palladians to get into a star system. You're in a fucking star system. Own your home. Love your home. Own that shit. Feel it. Feel proud to be human in the soul sixth sun star system. We've got to have this new language of honoring, like, we're star beings. Fuck yeah, we're star beings living on Earth. And where's the closest star? Just look up. It's right there. You belong to a star system. Hooray. That's awesome. And we don't have to travel anywhere. We're already here in a star system. And a star system is a traveling circus roadshow, by the way. because a little bit of observation shows us, right? The Earth and all the planets orbit Sol, or a star system, our star. And that star, that Sol, is also on the move. Sol is evolving. As Earth is evolving, Sol is evolving, right? So, yes, Soul. Soul. So there's no SOS needed. We're already home. No one's in distress when we cleanse the trauma and get into alignment with the rhythms of life. So welcome to your star system. Own it today. Star system Soul, in the sixth sun vibration zone. And this is how we do it. Right. So again, we're taking leadership. We're taking these concepts of maybe what we thought were cheesy new age platitudes, and we're turning them into real living action. And this is about having embodied ownership of the truth. And may what I'm doing here is for us to find, well, what is the truth? And this is a very important thing that I proudly stand by, and I'll explain it after some water. That comes from planet Earth in a star system. This is a really important thing to me. And I love sharing this with you because it's something that I really stand by. All of these concepts are tangible. Whatever I share with you is meant to be lived, not just, masturbated in the mind, right? If we want change, it's got to be embodied, right? So my question to you, whenever I say something to you, whenever I share with you some wisdom or some intelligence, how do we know anything is true? This is the most awesome thing about what we're doing here, because we go to the source. So, who is our most closest and living, tangible, materialized form of source? Who is source? Who's our greatest representation of source right now that you can have a connection with? Not in your mind, not in the psychic world. Where is the most tangible source, tangible, materialized form of source? It's the mother. Mother Earth is source. Mother Earth is here. Can we say that's true? We walk outside our home, because our homes can obscure the earth, right? We walk outside, we're on Earth, correct? Right? Yes, and self is source. But what I'm getting to because ourselves right now, self, right? We've been isolated. When you've been divorced from intelligence and the rhythms of life, we're coming back online, right? So I said this to a friend, the way back to life is through the mother. The way back to life is through the mother. So how do we know anything is true that I'm saying here? So when we hang out with a mother, right? As I've been going off on a crazy rant, where does the mother live? She lives in the soul system, right? But when we have a question of what is true, we observe her. We look to her. How does Mother Earth do it? What is she doing? How is she doing it? When we can observe this, what happens during the day? What happens at sunrise? What happens at noon? What happens at sunset? What happens at midnight, right? The sacred circle of life that's happening every day. When we can observe her, we start to relearn the language of life. We start to see the rhythms, right? And we start to relearn, thankfully, wisdom from ancient culture still lives on. We start to learn that there's rhythms that are going on, that we have a rhythm with the planet Venus, and that we have a rhythm with the moon, right? We observe these things, and our lives can become in alignment with these things, right? So if you ever, all I'm saying is, if you ever have a piece of wisdom that's been handed to you, and yes, we have intuition that lets us know it's true, But if you're still questioning it, or you want to cleanse it, and this is another side angle to it, if you want to cleanse it from the act of colonization that's happened, or if you want to cleanse the wisdom from any sort of patriarchal or toxic masculine overrule on wisdom, then you take that knowledge and that wisdom back to the Mother Earth and you ask her, is this true? And then please show me how this is true, because wisdom will show up in nature, because nature just doesn't mean trees and rocks and oceans. Nature is the expression of intelligence connected to life. So if you have a question or you have a piece of wisdom that needs a little bit of clarity, or wisdom that needs realigning because it was colonized wisdom, or it was wisdom that was, like I said, overruled by a toxic masculine and patriarchal force, right? Some sort of middleman paradigm came up into it, and that middleman twisted the truth a little bit so that you had to stay hooked onto their system. We have and that's called the Matrix. We have a real system that we can realign all our wisdom to, and that is the Mother Earth, who is then connected to the sun, which is then connected to the greater central suns, which is then connected to the great grand central source of all existence, right? Everything is touching, right? Everything is connected. So take your questions back to the Mother, take your wisdom that you read in books and take it back to the Mother and say, show me how this is true. Because show me how this is true, because I'm ready and willing to watch you do that thing. Because trust me, any sort of wisdom that's out there, the Mother Earth is doing it. And I know this is a big topic. This is a big subject. But I want you to tune into how you can find the way to align all your questions, all your inquiries, all your wisdoms that you've found, and align it back to her. And we can go into that into a deeper point, but I'm just telling you, that's the front door. That's the entry into what we're talking about here. All wisdom can be realigned and reconnected to her. So, I'll give a brief example. So in the Mexica, for the people of South Central Mexico, otherwise known as the Aztec, they went through their own trauma 500 years ago called the conquest from Spain. At that time, they had a ton of priests try and document the culture, but not so much adopt the culture, but, document a culture through their Catholic, European, Middle Age, eyes and value systems, right? So a good chunk of wisdom got interpreted through European Catholic eyes and values. So a lot of things that were a connection to the earth were deemed a connection to hell. And so for the Mexica, the number 9 is very important. 9 being connected to the mother, 9 being connected to the 9 months that it takes to birth a child, right? For the human, 9 is very important. For the Mother Earth, 9 is very important. And you saw the number 9 in architecture. A lot of temples have 9 steps, and a lot of that got reinterpreted as the 9 steps to hell. But really, it's the 9 steps to earth. And so we have to go in and we have to ask the wisdom, well, why would this culture have a connection to hell? That's a European concept. There is no hell when you're connected to life. There is no hell connected to life. You're connected to life. Life is alive. Life is love. Life is alive and expressive and doing its thing, connected to its truth. So we see, okay, well, what happens? Okay, so here, 9 levels of hell. Okay, Mother Earth, what is this? What is this 9? What are these levels when it means to go into you? Oh, actually, the 9 levels of hell aren't hell at all. When we connect the intelligence back to the earth, the 9 levels are the 9 levels of birth. Why do we know this? Why did I just say this? Why is that even true, what I just said? Okay, well, what happens? What happens when a tree puts their branches down into the earth? Is the branches of the tree getting nurtured by hell? Or are the roots, I'm sorry, but roots getting nurtured by hell, or are the roots getting nurtured by life? When a seed goes down into the ground, is it getting nurtured by hell, or is it getting nurtured by the 9 levels, the 9 womb stages of life, right? So the Mother Earth helps us course correct all the wisdoms that may have been colonized, or all the wisdoms that have been toxic masculinized or thrown into the patriarchy. So take those wisdoms and put them back into the earth and observe life. Observe life to cleanse the wisdoms that you live by. And she will show you how it is done, right? So when something dies, like a human or an animal, traditionally, it'll decompose. You know, humans get put in caskets for some weird reason. But normally the animal decomposes, right? And becomes food for other things, but also then those nutrients go back down into the soil and they become elements that the seeds can take nurturance from. So the womb of the mother is a place of nurturance, nutrients, and seeds sprouting into life. There's no hell going on inside the mother's womb. So, like I said, that's just like one of many, many stories from many, many different cultures that were colonized and suppressed and divorced from their connection to the mother. And that's what we're reclaiming here. Genetically, physically, mentally, spiritually, physically, in our clothes, in our architecture, in our language, in our commerce, we're bringing all those back into alignment with life. So yes to the sacred 9, and healing that. So again, take your truth, take it to the mother. And again, the way back to the life is through the mother. So let us understand that part of our mission here to embody new earth and live in new earth is to heal the collective unconscious of these conquests that have happened in our human history. So get into that body, get into the body that is really the flesh of the mother. Recognize your sacred orbit with her and her sacred orbit with her brothers and sisters, the planet, and all our planet's sacred rhythmic orbit with the sun, and the sacred rhythmic orbit of the sun, Sol, with the other greater central suns in the galaxy and the universe and all the cosmic consciousness that creates it. Hi, everything's touching. Welcome. Feel the gravity of that. Gravity is actually love. And like I was saying earlier, you can leap up into the air, but she'll hold you back down and hold you close because she's in charge of the flying right now. As we learn how to remember our own wings and our own connection to life, she's the one doing the driving. So relax into her. Thank her. Give massive gratitude for her because she is literally the ground that supports you. And if you need more support in your life, get out of your head and get with her. Get out of your head and get with her and really start to own. If there's one thing I actually say in this episode, in this live, get with her and start to own your relationship with her. Start to feel like you actually have, this is a funny word, or the right to have communication and communion with her. You are her and you have access to her. Start to utilize it. Start to have that communication along with the observations of how she rolls. All right, tribe, Empath Nation, Shift Crew. I'm really glad to spend time with you here live. All the audio from this is going to be taken and cleaned up and put on the podcast. So you can go to theobsidianblade.com/subscribe. And there you can click Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever you use. And you can subscribe to the podcast and hear the audios nice and clean of what we talked about here, along with dozens of other episodes that talk about all the things that we need to cut out with the Obsidian Blade in order to be in alignment with truth, along with, enacting our observational powers of existence. And that's how we do this. So I just want to say here also on YouTube, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please like this video. It helps other people find this, and hit the subscribe button along with the notifications bell. We're going live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or wherever you are in the earth at that time. Please come on out. Please hang with me. Send me DMs about what we can talk about next, what you're challenged with, how we can take those challenges and align them with the mother, align them with intelligence. Let's do that. That's the fun that we get to have here on this journey. We get to be the heroes who have remembered themselves. And then as the people who have remembered themselves, we get to become energy workers, because we're working with the remembrance that we are energy and that we are cosmic intelligence. And that's a real tangible thing. It's not something you just masturbate to in your mind. You get to actually live, have the fun and the privilege and the excitement of being living energy. So catch you on Friday, or catch you on the replay. Creators, go forth and create. Absolutely, Little Hawk, midnight. And take your questions to the mother. Take anything you read in a book to the mother and ask her if it's true, and ask her how she can show you how she does it, because she's doing it. All wisdom is really coming from her. So love you so much. I'll see you on Friday. Again, send me questions or DMs below the video here on YouTube or on Instagram, and I'll see you then. Mwah. Much love.